This is training video number 47A in reference to CD booklets, producing CD booklets on a Bourg AE Collator booklet maker. Now, first thing that we had to do right here on the bins, basically what you need to do is you have to center your guides. Now, the guides on 4 3/4, which was the size that you were requesting, you'll notice these little pads we put in here. What they are is the spacers. Now, what that is just that peel and stick. It's got sticky back magnet material. You can buy it just about anywhere. You can buy it whatever width you want. Right now, we just put these little pads in here. And the reason we did that was to hold the paper in position, because when you close these all the way, it's just about 1/8 of an inch shy of closing in on the paper. And it's important on a Bourg AE that these guides are snug on the paper, because otherwise the sheets can come out crooked at all kinds of angles and create all kinds of problems. But this is the way you want this booklet maker set up. If you'll see your sheet separators here on each corner, they're catching about 1/8 of an inch of each corner. It's important that both sheet separators be set the same. The paper needs to be flush to the crest of your bin, just like you see there. If the paper's too far down, it'll sometimes fall short of being fed all the way through. And if it's too far up, it'll jam against your doubles of your sheet separators here and give you a great deal of problems with misfeeds. So that's basically how you set the bin up. Now, all these bins are set to the center, but you have to be careful because sometimes the bumpers are in the wrong position. So you have to look at the bins and make sure that they're going in the right way, all the way across. You can see the distance between here and here. For example, if this one is out like that, your sheets are going to come out of position. Now, your sheets are never going to come out perfectly in position, but you know, you want it a little bit closer, say within 1/16 of an inch of each other. Now, on the stitcher side, we've got the stitch heads on this particular model as close together as they'll go, and that's your interlake stitch heads. They won't go any closer than that on an AGR. Now, what that is, these are the booklets that we produce. You see the staples, how they're on the outside edges of each one of the booklets. Most of our customers who run the CD booklets that have this system, they go ahead and run the staples on the outside a little. It doesn't seem to create a problem for them. But if it does, and you have to have the stitches closer in, then what you have to do is you have to machine underneath the clinchers. The clinchers are these brass blocks. If you can see them right here, I'm pointing to them. Those brass blocks, when you move them together, it's got a bracket in there, a mounting bracket that bumps the inside of that and doesn't let you go any further. You can machine that out more, or machine the bracket a little bit more to allow you to bring those staples a little closer together. Or if you have the new style AGRP stitcher, the AGRP will allow you to bring the stitch heads closer together. I don't know which model you have, but if you have the AGR like this one, you can tell the AGR model, it has a transfer tray like this that goes in between, that fits inside here and plugs into the stitcher. If you have this system, then more than likely that's as close as you're going to be able to get your staples. The next thing you're going to need is what you can see right here is a stitch plate. Now, we made that stitch plate custom for this particular size booklet. You can order those from us. They're just under $100, but new from Bourg they're like $140. But anyway, that custom stitch plate, you're going to need a plate like that. Either make one yourself or order one from us to put in there for your booklet size. Now, if you'll notice, I'm going to go ahead and run the booklet maker, the collator, and I'm going to feed a set into the booklet maker. Oh, my fault. I forgot to lower the... Run the set and then stop it when the set coming out of the booklet maker like you see right here. Now notice between your side guide on the non-op side and your paper, I always allow between 1/4 inch to 5/16 of clearance. The reason for that is because as the sheets come out, if one sheet's a little bit crooked or out of position, it won't jam into that and cause a jam. So you want at least 1/4 inch to 5/16 clearance there. Notice how this is set up. It has both of your sheet guides, these are very important. If your machine does not have that, you're going to have to put them on there. That helps guide the set underneath the stitch head. Now I'm going to go ahead and feed it forward. Now, this is the set inside your stitcher, okay? Now I'm going to push the manual jog over. As you can see, you set the jog where the jog is just pushing on the paper but jogging it nice and square. And also on your back jogger, you don't want too much buckle. Now the back jogger position is adjusted right here. You loosen the lock nut and turn the dial left to right. Now what that does is it moves the stitch head back and forth. See, back and forth. So notice what we're doing right here. We're going to back it up until the paper touches the back jogger and it's just a little bit of buckle. Watch the paper. You see that buckle right there? That's what you want. Then you lock it down. Alright, now you got the back jog set and the side jog set, okay? Now, on the stitcher side, what we had to do was, if all of your booklet guides are, long like this one, you may have to cut them, but on the newer machines, they give you two short ones like this and two long ones. You put the long ones in the center and the short ones to the outside. It's real important also that you make sure that these fingers are inside in between the stop fingers, because otherwise the sheets will go up and over the stops when they come out. Another thing that we do as a modification is this bar is usually on this side of this L bracket you see right here. So what we do is we reset this, we take it off and move it to the other side. Now what that does is you just moved your guides forward about an inch. And that's real important to get those guides a little bit further forward, especially when you're running these short booklets like this. Now the next thing that we did here, as you can see, is we put these guides in here. Now what these are is magnetic blocks. We sell them here, or you can buy them in different places. But anyway, these magnetic blocks, what they'll do is they guide the booklet into position. Because what happens is the booklet is so narrow that if it shifts at all, it's going to miss the wheels, these roller blocks forward. So we put the guides in there to help guide the booklet in. I'm going to show you by running a couple of sets here so you can see what I mean. You see how that guides right in there? If it were not for those guides being in there, the set would move back and forth, which wouldn't matter on a bigger sheet, but on a narrow sheet it's very important. Now, here's another issue that we have, modification that you're going to need to make, and that is right here. When you run this narrower booklet, if you'll notice, the booklet is a little narrower than the roller. So what I did here was I drilled some extra holes. You see those holes right there? I drilled extra holes on the outside of the mounting bracket here so I could move the mounting bracket closer together to allow you to be able to transport this booklet. Now, the other modification that you can make is these belts that are underneath. You can actually loosen the pulleys and move the pulleys closer together, like closer together to the center, and allow you to be able to insert that booklet. It actually is a way to reduce the size booklet that you're producing. You'll notice right here on these cutouts, you can also cut this cutout a little bit more to allow you to move your wheels further in. To move the wheels in, all you have to do is loosen the set screw on the drive side, which is this one over here, the shaft that drives them, and then remove the clip on this side that holds this roller in position, and the roller will follow the belt and move right over for you and make it possible for you to bring this closer together. Now if you'll notice, on the folder side, I have these two magnetic blocks. You can see them right there. I'm pointing to them with my finger right there. I have one on this side and one on that side. Now, what those magnetic blocks do is they help, when the booklet goes in, it helps guide the booklet so that it's centered in the position it has to be. Because if it's too far over to one side or the other, it's not going to go in the trimmer in the right position. So also these belts, if you'll notice, I moved these belts in a little bit. Now the way I did it was I loosened the set screw, right here on this block, there's a set screw that you loosen, and you move the blocks in a little closer. Now what that did was it allows the booklet, when it comes out, to actually rest on the belt. Watch. You see how the booklet rests on the belt now? If those belts were further apart like they normally would be, the booklet would fall in between. So that's another modification that you have to make. Now when it goes into the trimmer, you have a similar dilemma. Now we didn't modify the trimmer in this instance here because it's a little bit more involved, but you would have to move the entry guides to the center. Again, you take the pulleys, loosen the set screws that drive the pulleys, and move the pulleys closer to the center, and then remove loosen this screw right inside here on this pulley, and you can actually move your two transport rollers closer in. Now you have the exit issue. Now the exit is another issue on the trimmer. Now if you're not going to use a trimmer, it makes it simpler, but these transports here will have to be moved closer to the center, and the belts that go underneath the same way. You have to loosen the set screws on the drive pulleys of the green transport belts and move them towards the center. So the whole issue on this whole system is running a narrow sheet like this is because these systems were really designed for a minimum sheet of 6.5 inches wide. And as you can see right there, that's really not wide enough to transport the booklet accurately. But those belts can be moved in. Now I have done those modifications on 2 systems and it works good. So I'm transferring that information to you. Of course, for us to do it, it's very expensive. But you can do these modifications yourself on a weekend, just as I suggested. Takes a little bit of finesse mechanically. And if you don't have the ability to do that, there's another option. Now, what you can do, and I do have customers doing this, is you can run your CD booklets 2 up instead of 1 up. Now, what that would do is it would give you a 9 3/4 by 9 3/4 sheet, which would be a dream running through here, no problem. Or 9 3/4 by 10. Okay. Then what you do is you put 1 staple on each booklet, and then the 2 center stitches, you would do that on an offline stitcher. Like for example, you could get a 2-head offline stitcher, a used one, fairly cheaply, and after the booklets come off the end here, you quickly run them through a 2-head stitcher and put the 2 center staples in. Then you can trim them in half. Or we have a modification for the stitcher that we sell that comes with 2 stitch heads, 2 clincher units, and all the parts that you need to convert this over to a 4-head stitcher, and instructions on how to do so. And you can convert the stitcher into 4 heads, which allows you to do 2 staples in each booklet. And I actually have a video I can send you of a booklet maker that one of the booklet makers that we've modified. We've done about 6 of these modified to produce CD booklets high production. Now think about the advantage. If you convert your stitcher to a 4-head stitcher, you eliminate all the issues about running a narrow booklet, and you double your productivity. You run 2 booklets at a time instead of 1. So it's a huge step to make, and something that's worthy of consideration. But you let us know if you're interested in doing that, and we will give you a quote on the price on the parts. Okay, that pretty much covers the system that we talked about. I've given you some ideas on how to be able to set up 4 1/4, 4 3/4 on the booklet maker, giving you some tips on how to set up the system. So if you're interested in converting your unit or making changes, let us know. The least expensive way to do this is, without any modifications, is to run your booklets 6 inches wide, or say 5.5 at the minimum, and trim off top and bottom. And that's what I would suggest. Of course, you've got extra trimming to do, a little extra labor, but you know, those are all decisions you can make depending on how much money you want to invest in this project. Let us know if we can be of further assistance. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye.